We are all on a journey called life. And on this journey, the earth is the stage. The sun, moon, and stars are providing light for the stage. And all of us are part of an eternal world drama. We are all actors. And when we are on the stage, the whole world is looking on at us to take inspiration, to get insight on how to improve our role. No one in this drama is of lesser importance or of more importance. If you have a king and he doesn't have subjects, how is he called a king? Who is he ruling? And if you have subjects without a king, who are the subjects serving? If you have many professional and well equipped, well experienced doctors, but there are no patients, what is the value of the role of those doctors? If you have teachers and you don't have students, who are they teaching? Who is learning? So, is there anyone who is more important or less important? And the answer is no. So, we are not here to compete, but to cooperate, to enhance, to support, to encourage, and to go along in unity with everyone. All of us belong to one eternal parent. God is both our mother and father, and all of us, regardless of our nationality, our gender, or religious affiliation, we are all children of God. And today's topic, to be happy no matter what. We know for a fact that to stay happy, to be happy, can be challenging. But for us to understand that when we are challenged, we get the opportunity to develop hope, faith. And there's a saying, faith can move mountains. And we also know if we choose to go on the other side, worry, fear, doubt can cripple us, whilst faith, hope, and honesty, and courage, determination can overcome every challenge. Along with that, we all have rights over God, not a handful of us, not a few chosen ones, all of us. And to invoke God, to invite God, to engage God, and to involve God in our life, that happens especially when we are challenged. So challenges invites us to come closer to the one who is constant, unchanging, constantly happy, the one who never gives sorrow, the one who doesn't wag his finger at us, the one who never punishes us. We have rights over that one who is an ocean of love, who is the remover of sorrow, the bestower of happiness. So we can grasp at the opportunity to come close to that one and to invite him, invoke him, engage him, and involve him in challenging times. Worry, fear, doubts. These monsters, where do they live? We all know the answer. Worry, fear, doubt, anxiety, stress, depression, they all live inside of us. Sometimes we think they are caused by other people. Worry has a big family. Fear, doubt. And what do the family of worry, what impact they have? They sabotage our well-being and our self-confidence. They sabotage our ability to think clearly. When we don't think clearly, we are unable to see possibilities and solutions in challenging times. How many of us realize that today is in fact the tomorrow we were worrying about yesterday? Yesterday we were worrying about tomorrow, and today tomorrow has arrived. Have we come to a state of stability, acceptance? Most worry don't come true. They only exist in our mind. In fact, study shows that 80% of the things we worry about never really happens. And I'm sure all of you will agree with me on that we worried and worried. And then when we look back, we ask ourselves, why did we put ourselves through that? Instead of increase our faith, our courage. I was watching an incident that happened recently in Turkey, in which a mother with her 4 children were in an apartment building which caught fire. And it was interesting, caught on camera. The mother, with quick thinking, through the window, she threw each child. And the citizens outside, who was watching the building on fire, they all grabbed a blanket and they caught each child. Each child survived without being hurt. So when there's clarity, our mind works in our favor. And when there is no clarity, what happens? We become emotional. And when we become emotional, all our sense organ become severely impaired. We can't think straight. We can't make right decision. If we open our mouth to speak at that time, words keep tumbling out with no self-control. We become paranoid. Blood pressure goes up. Our sugar level comes down. There's so many side effects when we allow situation to get in our mind and create imbalance. Worry, don't ever stop what's going to happen tomorrow. But instead, worry only take away today's joy. Worry is a waste of time. It doesn't change anything. It just messes with our mind and it steals our happiness. Worrying is using our imagination to create something that we really don't want. We don't want to lose our job. We don't want to test positive. We don't want to get sick. We don't want to be late. But we keep projecting negative thoughts in these very same scenario. I want to take the water across safely. I'm holding a full glass of water and I want to take it across safely. Instead, I think I don't want to spill the water. Why do you use the word spill when in reality you want to take the water across safely? Why do you use the word I don't? Don't is negative, spill is negative. But in reality, you want to take the water across safely. I was chatting with someone recently, and the first thing people say when you say something, you give a suggestion, they say, no problem. No is negative. Problem is negative. What they really mean? They mean to say, it's fine. It's okay. It's great. But what we choose to use instead, no problem. Why do we keep these kind of vocab and use it habitually without understanding the impact it has? You say something to someone, they say, no worries. But what they intend to say is the very opposite. So watch your words. they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it shapes your destiny. If we're doing our best, we don't have any time to worry about failure. Don't worry about failures, but be concerned not to miss the opportunity by not trying. Worrying is like betting against one's own self. Good and bad things will happen in life. They each have their purpose. We all write examinations periodically when we are at school, and the only reason why we go through those test papers and those examinations periodically is to allow us to gauge ourselves, to see whether we are making progress, to see how close we are in achieving our objective, our goals, to see how close we are at the finishing line. So, tests, obstacles, challenges, adversities are our best friend. Why? Because they bring out, or they give us the opportunity to bring out the best still that is lying dormant and sleeping inside of us. Like the scene of the woman, the mother in Turkey, she took courage and she succeeded in saving her children and eventually was able to save herself. So, can we remember all the things we worried about a year ago? Did all of them happen? Or did we burn a lot of our energy unnecessarily? Study shows that 80% of the things we worry about never really happen. So when there's a challenging situation, what do you say to yourself instead of worrying? The sun will rise again tomorrow. Tomorrow brings a new day, a new opportunity, no matter what's happening now, today. By keeping your mind calm in all situations with a slogan, this too shall pass. When we keep a positive perspective of everything that comes on our path, we gain strength to overcome the situation. Optimistic persons don't waste their time in asking why, what, how. They just connect with the vision of possibilities. There was a Buddhist monk, nun, a Buddhist nun, and she was presenting. And in her presentation, she was asking three very simple yet profound questions. Are you having a good day or a bad day? That was her first question. Are you having a good day or a bad day? And if you're having a bad day, why? And if you're having a good day, also she asked, why? Why is your day good or bad? And then she asked the third question. What kind of a day do you wish to have tomorrow? Tomorrow means Wednesday. What kind of a day do you want to have on Thursday as well as on Friday? What kind of a week do you want to have next week? The main question is the second question. Why are we having a good day? And why are we having a bad day? We tend to create a list of external conditions as the deciding factor whether our day is good or bad. These external factors are often not in our control. Like, do we know whether it's going to rain heavily tomorrow and we still have to go to work? Or it's snowing heavily tomorrow, we still have to go to work? Or do we know that there will be an accident on the road ahead of me arriving at work so that I am not? But what if I go to sleep thinking, what if something happened to me tonight? I get a heart attack, or a member, loved one, gets a heart attack. Do we go to sleep thinking, what if thieves come in the night and attack us? When we wake up in the morning, do we say, I wonder whether I am going out? Would I get infected or not? Would I get the news that I am fired or the company has run bankrupt? Do we go to sleep and wake up with these thoughts? If we do, they are unnecessary thoughts and they're not useful. So we cannot allow external situation to determine my state of mind, whether I'm having a good day or a bad day. I cannot depend on external situation because many of them are not in my control. We will not be able to have a stable kind of happiness if we allow people and circumstances to determine my having a good day or a bad one. We cannot control people and circumstances every single day. Then our happiness, if we allow people and circumstances to control us, then our happiness will be in the hands of others or at the whims of circumstances. So, two things we need to do. Don't place our happiness or don't place our unhappiness in someone else's hands or in circumstances because it depends on the mood of the person, whatever the person might be going through, whether the person is with me or not with me. What's going to happen to my happiness if it is dependent on that person? And don't place our unhappiness in someone else's hand or in circumstances, meaning don't blame other people for our unhappiness. Don't play the blame game and don't point fingers. Because if other people are responsible for my unhappiness, then I'll have to wait perhaps for eternity to reclaim my peace of mind and happiness. Because whether that person will ever change or whether that situation will ever change. So stop blaming and take responsibility for both our happiness as well as our unhappiness. Then our happiness will be stable and constant. We need to cultivate a source of peace and happiness coming from inside our own mind. I am sure, absolutely sure, that by now all of you know that happiness is not an acquisition. Because we worry, we have desires. I need a new phone. I need the latest model phone. I need this. I need that. And I allow desires to rob me of my peace of mind because I keep going after something that is outside. And today, we may have acquired some of those same objects that we had wanted to. We got the iPhone we wanted. We got the dream house, the dream car, the dream job. Then we should be very happy and contented. We shouldn't be having room for worry or stress. Happiness is a state of mind, and therefore, happiness cannot be found outside of our mind. Happiness is a state of mind, and therefore, it cannot be found outside of the domain of my own mind. And so it is with unhappiness. Both are different mindsets which we ourselves create. It's not what is happening that is making me unhappy or happy, but how I respond to what's happening. It determines whether I become happy or unhappy. Some persons, they're confronted with challenges and they smile through it, whilst others frown through it, complain all the time. So it's not the situation. Somebody says, I don't like your car. I don't like that color. And you think they're insulting you. They don't respect you. They don't love you. But they're just sharing their honest opinion. color red is not their favorite color. So they would obviously not like your car. But why do you take their opinion personally? And the reason why you take their opinion personally is because you're depending on happiness and approval and respect and value from the outside. So what happens if someone doesn't like your blouse or your car or your hairstyle? Does that mean that they disrespect you? They don't like you? They want to hurt your feelings? Or do you choose to allow? Do you choose to take their words personally? It's no longer rocket science to understand this reality that my happiness or unhappiness is not in anyone else's hand or in the hands of circumstances or situation. How to cultivate a state of happiness, a mindset of happiness, rather than one of fear or worry. Because with fear comes worry, worry that things must go my way, must go right. The best of freedom is the power to choose. We all have the power to choose whether we want to allow or refuse to allow anyone's opinion, anyone's behavior, anyone's attitude to disturb my mind. Because what we do when we hear someone saying something, it triggers thoughts. Thoughts, if they're saying a compliment, I create thoughts, happy thoughts. I feel so good. And if they give a criticism, then I create thoughts of unhappiness that they are hurting me. They want to hurt me. No one can hurt me or upset me or get me angry unless I give them permission to do so. I have the power to choose whether to allow their thoughts to influence my mind or keep their thoughts where it belongs, and that is outside. Life is full of what ifs as well as endless possibilities. Whatever is going to happen anyway, whether we worry or not. So why waste time worrying about some things you have no control over? If what you're worrying about isn't within your means, then move on. Don't put a damper on your spirit. Embrace the uncertainty of life and remain stable and peaceful. Who knows tomorrow? It has not been promised to anyone. And yet, how many thoughts and therefore how much energy do we waste worrying about tomorrow? Research shows, very interesting, that happiness that comes from within is harder to lose in comparison to happiness that comes from external factors. Happiness that comes from within is harder to lose compared to happiness that is influenced by external factors. Do we realize that building happiness on external factors can in fact rob us of our personal power? When I build my happiness based on external factors, it means I'm giving my personal power away. Isn't it interesting that we keep saying, we keep making happiness goals? We say, I will be happy when I get my dream house, when I get my dream car, when I get my dream job. So I make happiness goals on condition that I get this or get that. Let's examine the things we have around us right now, the things we have in the present moment. Weren't they the things we once thought will give us happiness? I go to the store, I see a pair of shoes, and I said, wow, such a beautiful shoe. I want that pair of shoes. I get the pair of shoes. My happiness soared. It reached maybe cloud 9, 8, 9, 10. I come home. I show others the pair of shoes that I have acquired. I put it away carefully. And after a week, 2 weeks, the shoe is there. I'm still the owner. It still has its monetary value. But what happens to the happiness that I got when I acquired it? Does that happiness stay 1 week later, 1 month later, or it fizzles out? And then one day, soon, I start looking for another reason to acquire happiness. This explains why, after achieving a goal, which we build our happiness around, we build our happiness that I need that phone, I need that shoe, I need that hairstyle. Then after we acquired it, we tend to fall back into the feeling of dissatisfaction and sadness. Because endless desires steals our happiness rather than reward us with peace and happiness. So why delay the inevitable? Why not start creating your own thoughts and nurture your own inner peace and happiness? It's like getting high by drugs, coffee, chocolate. And then after a while, the same thing that gives you high, if you don't get it, it robs you of your peace and happiness. We become dependent and addicted to them. And we all know that addiction of any kind has power over us, or they make us powerless. So don't put the responsibility of your happiness on external factors or in someone else's hand. Happiness that comes from within is permanent. Happiness that comes from external is temporary, fleeting, momentary, an illusion. It doesn't last. So happiness is an inner work. It is something we have to cultivate. And when we do that, we remain in a state of contentment. Happiness comes from the awareness that I am a spiritual being, a divine spark of light, an energy, a positive being. All souls are positive by nature, and I belong to another being, the highest on high, the supreme being. We have given that being many names. We call that being Jehovah, Allah. We call that being Supreme Father, Supreme Soul, our mother and father, and that being is constantly pure. Because in the world we are taught that this body is who I am. We say that I am this body and that I have a soul. In spirituality, you're taught you are a soul and you have a body. So the body is not primary. It is a soul that is of primary importance. But when I choose to say I'm the body, then I create lots of unnecessary thoughts, which creates worry. My external identification is temporary, very limited, very narrow, and there's no guarantee. Today I may have a healthy body, tomorrow no. Today I may be in a body, tomorrow this soul may depart. So today, because of the identification of the body, color plays such a role that is dangerous to our peace and happiness. Today, when a child step out, or you step out, I step out into the world, there's no guarantee I can come home safe because of the color of my skin. In some countries, you're ridiculed and you are put into institution because of your religious affiliation. Today, there is a gender inequality. Today, it's about status. The wealthy and the most powerful, they get to decide, and the less fortunate one becomes subjected to those decisions. So there's so much discrimination, discrepancies, and injustice when we identify with the body. But when we identify with the soul, I'm an eternal, immortal, imperishable being of light energy. And the nature of the soul, my natural nature, my eternal nature, my innate quality is one of peace, love, happiness, truth, wisdom, and power. That's who I am as a soul. And when I become soul conscious, I have access to these qualities. Just like a doctor puts on his coat and he steps out of his house and goes to his clinic. And when he wears the hat of a doctor, he is having medicine and illnesses in his intellect. He's aware of medicine and symptoms of illnesses. The same doctor, when he comes home in the afternoon and he's talking to his wife, he takes off the hat of a doctor and puts on the hat of a husband, and then comes to his fingertips the awareness of a caring and concerned and cooperative husband. And then when the child comes in the picture, he takes off the hat of a husband and he puts on the hat of a father. How many hats do we play? Rather, how many hats do we wear? But do we ever, and this is the closing point, do we ever wear the hat of a soul throughout our life? Whether we are 40 years, 50, 60 years old, do we ever wear once in every year the hat of a spiritual being, a child of God, a being that is by nature peaceful and happy? So, although we know peace and happiness is inside, we don't wear the hat of the awareness of the soul, so we are not able to emerge the awareness of being not just a soul, but a peaceful, a happy, a loving soul. We are all spiritual beings and we all have humongous possibilities already inside of us. We only need to re-emerge them and keep them in our awareness. And we hope that we have given you a lot of insights and to remind you that it's not profitable to worry. And therefore, instead of worrying, grab the opportunity to increase your faith, increase your courage, increase your positivity, because those qualities are going to ensure that you stay positive, stable, and content.